Picture this, you're 31,000 feet in the air. Then all of a sudden everyone stands up out of their seats and jumps all at the same time on your airplane. Now the question is, what happens to the plane? Does the weight of all of these people just push the plane out of the sky? Would the structure of the plane bend and it become a smiley face shape in the air? Or would nothing happen at all? Well, today we're going to do the math and find out exactly what would happen. I'm Charlie and today we're going to look at what if everyone on an airplane jumped at the same time. But before we jump into it, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too. One of the most common airplanes in the world is a Boeing 777. It's the world's largest twin jet and it seats around 300 passengers. Each one of these costs around $5 billion and they've been being produced since 1993. Because of this, if you've been on vacation any time in the past 10 years, you've likely been on one of these planes. But what if at some point everyone jumped up on that airplane? Now, this has never been done before, as I'm pretty sure the pilots would freak out and emergency land. Also, many people have fear of flying, so I doubt you could convince an entire airplane to jump all at the same time. But luckily, we've done the math, and we can work out exactly what would happen if everyone jumped at the same time. So let's break it down. Let's say the Boeing 777 has the average amount of passengers, 300. And let's say the average passenger weighs 75 kilograms. That's 165 pounds per person. So 75 kilograms times 300 is a weight of 22.5 thousand kilograms. Or to put it more simply, 22.5 tons. So let's imagine that entire force being raised up on the airplane and falling all at the same time. That would equal a mass of 22.5 tons weighing down on the airplane. Convert that into pounds and that's 45,000 pounds going down on this plane. But to put that into perspective, we need to look at the plane itself, let's say a Boeing 777. The average Boeing 777 weighs around 300,000 pounds. And remember, this is without any baggage, passengers, or aircraft fuel. With all of those things on it, which it would have in the air, then this number would be closer to 400,000 or 500,000 pounds. Or to put it more simply, 200 to 250 tons. So this 250-ton aircraft will be moving at around 500 miles per hour. This will be the average speed a Boeing 777 is going mid-air. So now we have all the numbers in order, what would happen if the weight of 22.5 tons weighed down on this 250-ton aircraft? Well, the two magic numbers here are 250 tons and 500 miles per hour. That is the weight and speed of the aircraft. Obviously, these are really big numbers, and it makes the combined weight of all of our passengers, 22.5 tons, seem pretty small. That means that brief 22.5 ton weight going down would not have much impact on the aircraft. Remember, the weight of all the passengers is less than 10% of the aircraft's weight. And the craft is going so quickly too, at 500 miles an hour, meaning it would likely be pretty unfazed. Now, one thing that would happen is the altitude of the aircraft would decrease slightly. But all modern aircrafts have autopilot systems. This means this slight decrease in altitude would automatically be corrected. So really the aircraft would go down slightly and then go right back up thanks to autopilot. If you were in the pilot's cabin or the front of the aircraft, you may also feel some vibrations. Now, you may be surprised that everyone jumping on an airplane doesn't actually do much. But here's the mind-blowing thing, aircrafts actually have to face forces much more strong than that. Think about it, aircrafts have to fly through every kind of severe weather condition. Aircrafts have even been known to fly through hurricanes and tornadoes before, and it's common aircrafts have to fly in extreme winds. What pushes aircrafts down much more frequently than people jumping would be something like a microburst. A microburst is a very extreme, strong force of wind going down on the aircraft. This can happen in storms or in very bad weather conditions an aircraft's flying in. When this happens, the autopilot system kicks in and corrects it. The autopilot system will increase the engine's power and pitch the aircraft upwards. As soon as an airplane goes into the air, you can take solace in knowing the autopilot system monitors the aircraft's altitude. And it does this with pinpoint precision and speed. This means if an aircraft's altitude goes slightly too high or too low, it will quickly correct it. So if all 300 passengers teamed up and tried to bring the aircraft down by jumping, they could not do it. Even if it did push the aircraft down slightly, autopilot would correct it within seconds. Even a microburst of wind, which could equal more like 900 passengers jumping at the same time, still wouldn't do much. Anyone who has a fear of flying, don't worry, an aircraft is built like a rock. The aircraft's fuselage, aka its body, is built to deal with absolutely any weather condition, and that includes passengers having an impromptu rave on board. But now that we've answered this airplane question, let's just answer one more. That is, why don't planes fly over Tibet? Many people have been wondering why planes never fly over the Chinese region of Tibet. This has been an aviation mystery which many people have wondered for years. Well, part of the reason the flight path is banned is because of the Himalayan mountains. Planes reach pretty much all over the world, but the autonomous region in western China, Tibet, has no airplanes going over it. But a few years back, an airline worker named Tim Hibbets answered the question, why don't airplanes fly over Tibet? He said partly it's because of the very high mountains. These mountains are around 20,000 feet in the air, and under most conditions, aircrafts can fly way higher than this, to around 30,000 feet. But that does not work over mountains like Mount Everest. This is because decompression can happen in the cabin if it goes too high. Even if they deployed oxygen masks, these only have around 20 minutes worth of oxygen for each passenger. So if there was decompression in the cabin, the plane would have to fly lower than the mountains. Otherwise, the passengers would not be able to breathe. However, flight operators say that planes can only fly at a minimum of 10,000 feet. This area is a massive part of Asia, so it would be impossible to escape so quickly. Basically, it's so remote, it's a terrible place to have an emergency. And because there's a very real threat of a loss of cabin pressure, this means it's simply too dangerous to fly over. Also, if you lost an engine and you had to descend, you wouldn't be able to, as you'd crash into a mountain. So that's why if you look at an online flight map, you'll see no planes whatsoever flying over Tibet. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Vote in the poll in the top right corner and tell me, do you have a fear of flying? If you want some more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.